Oregon gives James Franklin another big game loss. Is it ever going to happen for the Nittany Lions? We look back at week 5, make our picks for week 6 on today's Locked On Big Ten Squad.
You're talking ball with the Big Ten Squad, sponsored by Game Time. From USC to Ohio State, from Michigan to Oregon, from Nebraska to Washington, it's the local experts of the Locked On Podcast Network bringing you scoops, breakdowns, and the most comprehensive preview of the upcoming Big Ten weekend. No hurt feelings and thin skin allowed. Squad up, you're part of the Big Ten Squad.
Happy Thursday, everybody. Welcome to this week's tightly knit Locked On Big Ten Squad. I'm Spencer McLaughlin, your host. Nick Arvin of Locked On Boilermakers is here. Zach Sako, Locked On Nittany Lions, bravely showing up for the squad this week to take mild verbal abuse from the three of us here. Jacob Goins, Locked On Hoosiers. He's here too after escaping Iowa City with a win. So let's hop right into it. Sako, we gotta go to you first here because look, I'm rocking the Oregon gear today. It would have felt sacrilegious.
I'm so glad you host these.
I think everybody is, I think everybody's really happy that I host these now and that Craig just doesn't for some reason. So I think that for Penn State to have been in a position where I picked them to win this game, where just about everybody else did, not everybody, there are plenty of Oregon fans out there.
Us experts.
Yeah, exactly. Joel Klatt and Josh Pate and all,
ESPN, everybody.
The ESPN. It was Penn State because on paper it was, and
It was
paper.
It was just
where do you go from here with James Franklin, Sako?
Well, we did a crossover to kind of answer that, the doomsday scenario and that it's a fireable offense if they happen to miss the playoff. I'm in my car for this squad show because I just came from practice and media availability. Penn State just lost its star linebacker, Tony Rojas, to a long-term injury of sorts. That's probably out for the season. That's what that terminology is. So we're going to see, to answer the James Franklin, so that's kind of, it just makes things a lot more difficult for Ohio State and Indiana. Where to go from James Franklin, or I don't know. It gets a lot more difficult from here because this was supposed to be it. Could you, in theory, win against Ohio State? Potentially, but I'm not banking on it, right? I don't expect them to. Indiana would be the game that you circle. Jacob's probably feeling better each and every day about that, and I'm feeling worse. On the Penn State side of things, I feel worse about that day by day. So it's James Franklin still has a lot going for him in the fact that there's really nobody internally as far as like former players and coaching staff, because when you see a coaching staff have a change, it's because everybody around him, his support system says, we don't have answers anymore. Where that's kind of where there's that backbone. But James Franklin has that. He has the support from every single former player, with respect, right? There's going to be a player here and there that didn't like him, but I would say 99% of former players and coaches that he has on staff all will go to bat for James Franklin. He's got a strong recruiting class in 2027 that could be top 10 at a minimum. And do you want to blow all of that up? I mean, they could disappoint. Who knows? But yeah, that's what you're teetering on is, do you want to blow all of that up right now?
Yeah, Goins is just inching to get into this conversation. So let me go to Nick first with thoughts on James Franklin. What did you think watching this game from afar, other than I hope Purdue gets a game day matchup during Barry Odom's tenure?
No, so my thought process is kind of two things can be true in this situation. Number one, Oregon absolutely deserved to win that game. They went into Happy Valley. They played hard football, and they won that game. But on the other hand, for Penn State,
he's back. The pillow is back. Oh, Nick is new. Nick is new here. He doesn't know about the pillow.
Oh, God. Well, I was going to say, don't explain it for the audio listeners because they don't want to know.
Yeah, audio listeners
I have a beautiful Oregon Duck pillow with the Duck Fighting Ducks logo on it, and
Head on the pillow.
Correct. And it only comes out during special situations, and this qualifies. Yay!
Something neutral arbiter. of college football.
I think you're confusing me with someone else who I'm told is a very good host and a strikingly handsome individual.
Indiana fans would disagree there, sir.
Indeed, they might. Anyway, Nick, continue since our shenanigans cut you off.
Absolutely, and I don't think that it's too late for Penn State. I think Penn State can absolutely rebound. It's one game. However, when these underwhelming kind of outcomes continue to happen, when you go into this whiteout game, and Dan Lanning said it, they're usually 7 points. That crowd is worth 7 points, and they just weren't in that matchup. That's underwhelming. If you're a Penn State fan, you expect to win games like that because it's at your home field, it's in your home environment, and that's a game that's been hyped up for the whole season long. So I think if you're a Penn State fan, you're upset about this one, but I don't think it's too late for Penn State. I think that you need Drew Aller, your leader, to be a little bit better than how he was, 137 yards, 14 for 25 in this one. You need your team to be better, but it's not too late for Penn State.
All right, Goins, you can jump in now. And by the way, might I remind you of your next opponent in case you forgot? This is your next opponent, Jacob.
We're ready. We're ready.
Just throwing it out there. Yeah, I mean, you made Iowa look like, I don't know, top 10 team in all of college football, dare I say.
Pretty good defense for Iowa. Yeah, their offense is still as bad as ever, good. And Indiana's defense proved why that was the case. So we'll talk about that moving forward in a little bit. But Seiko, 11th season, right, for James Franklin at Penn State this year. This is year 11.
More than that. This is year 13.
Year 13. Apologies. No. Curt Cignetti's in year 2 at Indiana. James Franklin, year 13 at Penn State. Would you like to know that they're both tied for the amount of wins against top 10 teams in the Big Ten?
Do you want me to sign out? Do you want me to just sign off early?
Hey, Seiko, by the way, it's year 12. Actually.
Oh my goodness, it is year 12. Yes,
it is.
It's been so long they just can't keep track anymore. They're so miserable in Happy Valley, they just can't keep track of. It is
Sad Valley at the moment.
Sad Valley, indeed.
Unhappy Valley.
Unhappy Valley.
Unhappy
yes,
Valley.
Think about that, and I wish there were more people here to react to that amazing stat. But Curt Cignetti in year 2 at Indiana and James Franklin in year 12 at Penn State have the same amount of wins against top 10 teams in the Big Ten, and it's just 1. It's unacceptable for James Franklin at this point. In my case is, if it's not going to happen now, which was the motto going into the season, Seiko, right? If it's not now, it's never. And if you can't win that game when you had every opportunity to do it and you waited 3.5 quarters to, wake up offensively, then it's never going to happen for him there at Happy Valley. And I hate that because I think he's a good coach and a good dude, but it's over, man. It's over, in my opinion. It's time to really start having those conversations and move on and find somebody that can win those games.
I'm going to extend an olive branch here to the Penn State fans who have definitely consumed my content a time or two in the lead up to this game. Last year, the same thing could have been said for Ryan Day after losing twice in the regular season, right? Maybe not the Oregon game because it was on the road and like that's a tough place to go into and win. But when they lost to Michigan, what was the narrative? He's got to go.
The Tennessee game was his job.
Yeah, he was. And I think James Franklin's going to be in that sort of position at some point this year where you're going to look at it and go,
Indiana's the job game. Maybe.
Wow.
I think that's totally fair because if you can't beat Indiana, that's at home, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, if you can't beat Indiana at home, how are you beating Ohio State on the road?
It's gonna be a circumstantial thing, though, right? Like I said, I just came here to report that there's a long-term injury to a key star player. You don't know what your roster is going to look like, so. Again, I don't want to speak that into existence, but circumstantially speaking, if, Indiana comes in with its, most of its full roster, Penn State, same thing. If there are dramatic changes, then, okay, you need the context, you need the nuance there. But yeah, Penn State's favored, right? If Penn State's going to be favored again, the expectation is, hey, you can go 10-2 because they still make the playoff if they lose to Oregon and Ohio State. They don't make the playoff if they lose to Indiana. And Spencer, you took the hardline stance and said that's a fireable offense.
It is,
and that they should just move on from him from then and there, because you did get all the resources going into the season. You got the buy-in, the amount of NIL and the amount of coordinating that it took to retain this roster, and then to go and get Jim Knowles because the excuse was, well, we don't have enough. We don't have enough. We don't have the right coordinator. We don't have the right coordinators. We weren't able to retain our players, right? There was always that. It was just, we're missing one piece. And then this time, what I said on my show all season was, or off season was, they don't have that missing piece. Okay, so then what is it this time?
Yeah, I think that's a great way to put it. Is like, if this is the best shot that he's had, and if he doesn't turn it around, I don't know how you can feel optimistic about going for it. It's not like he's only been given 2 or 3 years. It's over a decade at this point. More from week 5, beyond what happened in this game. Goins, what almost happened in Iowa City? We'll talk about that. Ohio State gets it done at Washington. That is all still to come on the Locked On Big Ten Squad. First, this episode brought to you by our friends over at FanDuel. The NFL season is here, in addition to college football, and FanDuel has an offer that you don't want to miss. Right now, new customers can bet just $5 and get $300 in bonus bets if you win. That's right, you pick a bet, you put down $5, and if it hits, you unlock $300 in bonus bets to use across the app. Now, based on our conversation today so far on the show, you should wait until Penn State plays a big game and then just put $5 on the opponent, and what do you know? You'll have $300 in bonus bets. If you want to bet college football, they've got everything you want. You've got point spreads, money line, point totals, prop bets. It's all over there at FanDuel to make the college football season even more exciting. So what are you waiting for? Seriously, what are you waiting for? Visit FanDuel.com to download the FanDuel app today and get started. Check them out at FanDuel.com. This episode also brought to you by our friends over at Square. Your favorite neighborhood spots, they run on Square. There are certain businesses that make the neighborhood the neighborhood. There are places that become an extension of home, whether it's the sports bar dedicated to your team's fan base, the spot with the best wings in town for game day, or that beloved local chain that's been rooted in your community for years. When these places thrive, the whole neighborhood thrives. And these places are thriving because of Square. You've probably used Square. Maybe you haven't even realized it. I've used it more times than I can count, because it makes financial transactions really easy and allows neighborhood businesses to stay efficient and stay on top of everything that they need to. Square is a proud sponsor of more than 4 million neighborhood businesses around the world. You can go to square.com/go/lockedoncollege to learn more. But before you do, go support your favorite neighborhood spot. You'll be happy you did. Square. See you in the neighborhood. Continuing on with this week's Locked On Big Ten Squad, Nick, Jacob, Zach, Spencer is myself. We are the Big Four, as the Game of Zones Mario Chalmers once said. To Fab Four, yes, we could be.
Final Four, basketball reference, Seiko. You may want to. There we go. It may not be for you, but and Spencer,
wrestling. Did you say something about wrestling?
Oh, we could talk about that.
We could. I don't know if Oregon has wrestling. They could, and I just don't know. No, I don't think they do. By the way, Goins, what is this shot at Oregon basketball? They were a good team last year. You should know.
They beat Indiana.
They beat Indiana.
They knocked us out of the NCAA tournament.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, don't be taking shots at Oregon basketball on the show. All right, let's get back into the football, though, because your team, Jacob, we're starting with you. 20-15, the final. Now, am I correct in saying that they readjusted the rushing stats in this game by removing Fernando Mendoza's sprint into the end zone for a safety?
We don't have to talk about that play. It was,
but that happened. That happened, right?
Yeah. No, it happened.
Yeah. Okay, that's what I think.
It happened. Yes.
I think it makes plenty of sense. But this game is one that I talked about on my show, and I said, just forget about it if you're an Indiana fan. Like, this is ugly. This is not a great game. Yeah. And Iowa's a good defensive team. Yeah, they're at home. They actually haven't beaten a ranked team there since 2021, and Indiana went in riding high, and it wasn't how it was supposed to look.
It wasn't pretty by any means, and I had to admit it, and I was glad to admit it, and I will do it again. I was wrong about Iowa, at least on the defensive side of the football. I thought that they could hang with Indiana in the first half, and they did, right? 10-10 at the half, and it was like, okay, that was ugly, that was gross, but let's go and make some adjustments. Curt Cignetti is one of the best in-game coaches in the country. Everything's going to be fine, and the inevitable blowout I thought was going to happen. And it simply didn't. Man, Iowa pushed around Indiana's offensive line, which is really unfortunate because there are P4 guys from other schools on that line that you brought in through the transfer portal, and they just got bullied. Indiana couldn't run the ball. Mendoza was running for his life, had to pick up some yards with his legs, threw his first interception of the season, did the at-time Heisman favorite, and has since dropped because of it. But then
Oh, really? He's second in the Heisman favorite? Oh, who's he behind?
That's all right. Give it time. It's okay.
Any idea?
Ryan Brown of Purdue.
Drew Aller? Is Drew Aller up there? Yeah, Purdue. That's funny. But no, Fernando Mendoza throws his first interception. Iowa's got the ball. They're driving, and it was, oh no, this is about to happen. This is about to happen. The thing that we said there was no way it could. Iowa misses a field goal. Mendoza's driving down, gets popped in the mouth, but it doesn't matter. He delivers a dart to one of the best receivers in the Big Ten, Elijah Surratt. He runs it all the way home, and Indiana gets out of Iowa. And there's a lot to work on here. You can't have the offense just stall out the way that you did and expect to win big football games in Eugene and in Happy Valley, because guess what? They have good defenses too. So I'm still confident in Indiana, but there are major concerns here with the offensive guys up front, especially against a good Iowa defense. But the fact that we're going to see better ones moving forward is kind of scary.
I think Iowa's defense being good and it being on the road is why the final score of the game should be 27-10, not 20-15. That's kind of the way I came away seeing it. Seiko, what about you?
Yeah, I mean, could you borrow any points from the Illinois game? I think that's where you used all of them. You emptied the cabinet to make a statement against Illinois, which is fine, but you didn't carry anything over to Iowa. Look, Iowa's going to be your traditional. They're scrappy all the time. That they're going to give you a fight no matter what. I'm never going to overlook. I mean, Penn State's going to go to Kinnick. I'm not going to overlook that game by any means. And I know that maybe Mark Gronowski might be banged up and stuff like that. You're still going to get usually the best from Phil Parker in the defense. The interesting thing is, though, Rutgers seemed to have no issue moving the football against that defense, but Indiana did. So what gives?
Yeah. No, it's usually a game plan, coaching thing, player motivation. But
Indiana's defense looked incredible, guys. You had guys like Aiden Fisher, Michael Kamara.
Oh yeah, against Iowa's offense, that's difficult, man. It's hard to look good against.
They might have the Joe Moore Award winner at offensive line, though.
They could, but Seiko, can I commend your sicko knowledge of college football that you were tuned in to what was, I believe, a Friday night game in Piscataway between Rutgers and Iowa. I love that you just pulled that out. Right there. Nick, absolutely. I know you're newer to the network. Get to that level of desire to watch this sport.
There are Big Ten counterparts. Why shouldn't I watch a Big Ten game?
I love it. That's
Kirk Ciarrocca used to coach at Penn State. Why would I not watch that game?
I
and
think
they play Iowa. Penn State plays Iowa.
By the way, can anyone tell me the score of the Rutgers game from this past week?
Nope.
No. They lost but covered
they did lose.
Against Minnesota, 31-28. On the road. UCLA's 0-5. By the way, quick poll before I ask Nick about Indiana, and then we get to Illinois, USC. Is UCLA winning a game this year?
They might not, to be honest.
Do they have another non-con game on that schedule, or do they play them all?
Let me pull up their schedule here real quick.
Why is this up for debate? Why are we wasting time on
Penn State, Michigan State, because I said so. Penn State, Michigan State, Maryland, Indiana, Nebraska, Ohio State, Washington, USC. Oh my gosh, UCLA's going 0-12.
Nope, they're not winning another one.
Can I have 30? Can I have those 30 seconds back?
Yeah, no, you cannot. But anyway, Nick, closing thought on Indiana, and then you can lead us right into discussion about a team that you've seen this year in USC, who lost another close game to a ranked opponent in Illinois.
Yeah, so for Indiana, Purdue's on a bye week. I have to hate watch the Hoosiers, but this is going to sound surprising for me, but I have to stick up for Indiana in this circumstance, because against Illinois, that team, they blew out the Illini, and an Illini team that I thought was going to be pretty good. Definitely give Indiana a fight. They just killed them at home in that matchup. So going into this week, what's the expectation? Well, I thought that USC would show a similar fight against Illinois. I thought that Indiana would show a similar fight against Iowa, and it just goes to show that any week, Big Ten games are hard to win. And for Indiana, I feel like we're having a different conversation if you somehow lose that game against Iowa, but you don't lose that game. So I don't feel like it's the end of the world. You don't have your best showing, but defensively you did enough. You kept Iowa to a low enough score that you were able to pull it out. Stick with your identity. If you're a Hoosiers fan, I don't think that team really has much to worry about at that point. And then do you want me to go ahead and hit on
Yeah,
Illinois?
go ahead and go right into USC, because Lincoln Riley did it again.
Talk about UCLA. Just mention UCLA.
Snatch defeat.
Northwestern, if you want. I mean,
yeah, let's
win a Big Ten game.
See, but yeah, they did. I expected them to. I think we all kind of expected them. Yeah, but Nick, USC snatched defeat from the jaws of victory again. Mekhi Lemon was unguardable, and yet they still lost.
Yeah, so for me, like I said, I thought USC was going to beat Illinois. I didn't really know where Illinois would be. And from a Purdue perspective, Purdue, they face off against USC earlier in the season, and Purdue, they face off against Illinois this Saturday. So for me, it felt like this game was a bit of a measuring stick as to where this Illinois team is, because, I mean, you beat Duke, but coming off a loss 60 to whatever against Indiana, I mean, we don't yes, I apologize. We don't really know how good that Illinois team is. And then against USC, they go into that one, and Luke Altmaier, he outplayed Jade Mayava, and they get the win. So it really it goes to say that this team, they played terribly against Indiana. They're able to bounce back. For Illinois, I still feel like there's a question mark on that team. Going up against Purdue this week, they opened up as only a touchdown favorite. So they certainly aren't given the respect that they were before Indiana. We'll have to see if they're able to earn that back.
Yeah, and I don't think it was so much Altmaier outplayed Jaden Mayava, who was brilliant in this game. I think he just outplayed the USC defense, which, frankly, was the side of the ball we had fewer questions about. I mean, as of last year, it kind of was. I wish Mark Culkin was here to offer insight. We adjusted the time for him, and that didn't result in him appearing anyway. But anyway, Seiko, your takeaway from you can go. I'll give you the option here, Seiko. Dealer's choice: Illinois, USC, or Ohio State, Washington.
Well, let's take Ohio State, Washington, because we just spent time on USC.
Go for it. Go for it.
Yeah, Ohio State. I mean, that was supposed to be an upset watch, and Jacob, you and I talked about it in a crossover episode that we're not going to fall for this, right? Washington's not good enough to, even if that is at home, they're not even close to Ohio State's level. And not 24-6. I have question marks about Ohio State's offense not being able to score more points. But I said Matt Patricia is going to be able to run circles around Damon Williams and whatever Jed Fish try to coach up and scheme up. This is going to be easy. Ohio State's never going to get into another true chess match until the Penn State game, unless Jacob. I'm missing something.
Yeah, I'm kind of there. I mean, I think that's a very underrated win for Ohio State. I think not enough people are talking about the idea that they went out to Husky Stadium and pretty much manhandled that game. And I know it was easy for them. It was close in the second half, but it wasn't if you watch that game. And so that will be a win Ohio State looks back on and college football looks back on, because I think Washington's going to continue to win football games from here on out. That's an underrated win for the Buckeyes. So we don't say that very often about Ohio State.
Washington has to go to Maryland on the road this week. I wouldn't overlook that game if I were Washington. I'm just going to throw that one out there.
Why don't we talk about it?
You know what? We will. And every other game the Big Ten is playing this week. More to come on this week's Locked On Big Ten Squad. First, this episode brought to you by our friends at Mazda. Mazda crafts cars for those who do more than simply move. Kind of like your favorite players on your favorite teams. They're doing more than just playing a game or getting some yards. They're moving the team forward. Mazda moves the car game forward. Mazda delivers confidence with every ride, with more IHS Top Safety Pick awards than anyone else as of August 2025. You can feel the Japanese craftsmanship in every detail, from the metallic accents to available Nappa leather upholstery. You can make everyday drives feel like anything but. Why be boring? Why be ordinary? Why be Fernando Mendoza when you could be Dante Moore? I mean, goodness gracious, that's not even a close discussion. Jacob is just seething backstage at that particular comment. But from smooth handling to intuitive controls, with all-wheel drive in every crossover SUV, you can drive with confidence through almost any season. Like the players of your favorite team, Mazda sweats every detail. Because when you make every detail and every move count, impossible becomes irrelevant. Mazda, move and be moved. This episode also brought to you by our friends over at Game Time. College football is back. I love it. You love it. We all love it. And the tailgates, the rivalries, the energy in the stands, there's nothing like it. There's nothing like it. If you want to experience that in person, Game Time is the way to go. And you don't want to go through a battle just to get to the games. Endless queues, hidden fees, prices jumping at checkout. That's why you should use Game Time, the app that gives the advantage back to fans. It's the easiest way to score last-minute tickets at the best prices with no surprise fees. What you see is what you pay. That's my favorite part about it. You don't get slapped with more at the end. It just bugs the crap out of me, and Game Time is not about that. Take the guesswork out of buying college football tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONCollege for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, that's promo code LOCKEDONCOLLEGE for $20 off. Swipe, tap, ticket, go. Download Game Time today. All right, let's get into our picks for Week 6 in the Big Ten Conference. And Oregon off after their big win against Penn State. They get to sit with that for a while. I think plenty of Oregon fans are okay with that. Let's start with the game we were talking about on the other side of the break. Washington going across the country to take on undefeated Maryland. Nick Arvin, are you riding with the Terrapins here? Mike Locksley might surprise some people with Malik Washington at quarterback.
I mean, if you told me preseason that the spread on this game opening up would be 6.5, I would say that you're absolutely crazy, because I thought that, like a lot of people thought, that Maryland would be one of the worst teams in the Big Ten this year, and they've been anything but. Although they haven't had a big test so far, Malik Washington, he's really proved that he's kind of an X factor for this Maryland program, where he can bring this program to a couple more wins than anybody really expected. However, I don't believe that he's going to be able to win against the Huskies. I think that this Washington team, we talked about it week after week after week, they're continuing to rely on the run with Jonah Coleman, one of the best running backs in the nation. I think that they have the advantage there over Maryland, and I think that Maryland, facing off against one of their first big tests, they fail, go to 4-1 on the year.
Listen to the shot taken at Wisconsin in there. They haven't been tested yet. They were on the road at Wisconsin last week. Seiko.
Wisconsin is not a test in 2025.
Oh, if only Ryan Herrings were here to defend his Badgers. Alas, he's not.
That's about all.
Seiko, Huskies or Terrapins?
It'll be a defensive struggle, to say the least, because I don't think Washington's going to have to overcome the cross-country trip. And Maryland's actually really good defensively, but granted, I will say they haven't been challenged defensively to this point. Malik Washington's only going to get better. I like Maryland's chances to cover in this one. I think Washington will sneak out of Maryland with a victory, but it's going to be ugly. Let's go 24-20 Washington.
That's called Seiko's Superdog selection of the week, is Terrapins plus 6.5 per our friends at FanDuel. Goins, Terrapins or Huskies, better matchup on the field than a mascot battle off the field. I think the Huskies win in that one. What about the game?
Yeah, look, I think Washington's going to have to figure some things out offensively, and I think they will, coming off the loss at Ohio State or against Ohio State where they scored just 6 points. That's not going to be okay for Jed Fish and that crew. So give me Washington to respond. As everybody else said, Maryland, I'm not giving them credit for beating FAU and Wisconsin. Give me Washington big. They'll cover, win by double digits.
There are some big point spreads in the Big Ten this week. Michigan 17.5 against Wisconsin. Penn State 25.5 at UCLA. Oh boy, that one could get out of hand.
No way that could go wrong.
No way that could go wrong. Minnesota is plus 23.5 at Ohio State. Does anybody have a stunner of all stunners in there, or can we move to the more exciting matchups?
Let's talk Louisiana Monroe.
Louisiana Monroe, Northwestern.
Only an 11-point underdog against Northwestern.
I'm taking Northwestern there. Playing good ball. David Brown's got him playing good ball. But Nick, how about the Boilermakers? A chance for a top 25 win. Barry Odom is seeking that signature moment. Here's a chance. Illinois could be an emotional letdown spot. You got to go on the road after a dramatic field storming win against USC last week. What do you make of the Boilermakers' chances here against the Illini?
No, yeah, it's absolutely a trap game of all trap games.
Wait, what did you say to start that response?
I said it's absolutely a trap game of all trap games.
No.
There was something before that.
There was something before that.
Oh,
did you even hear it?
No, I said yeah.
It sounded like no, yeah.
Oh, really? I'm just saying no, yeah. My bad. Oh.
Hey, don't let him. Hey, Nick, don't let him pick on you, bro. Don't. Look, Spencer Oregon wins one big game, and he acts like he's just.
Oregon's not even going to win this week, and he's talking smack.
Yeah, I mean, literally.
They're not going to lose either.
Yeah.
Yay.
Go ahead,
Yay.
Nick, and look at me sticking up for the Purdue guy. You know it's bad when I have to speak up for Purdue.
You were laughing too, Jacob.
Yeah, and I changed my mind, Spencer.
So as I was saying, this is the ultimate trap game for Illinois. You come off a win against USC, like you said, Spencer, a very emotional victory in that one, and then going into next week after Purdue, you face off against the Buckeyes in Columbus. That's one that I'm not necessarily saying that they are doing it, but it would be easy for a team to go into West Lafayette and still have the mindset we're looking forward to this big matchup in Columbus this next week. That is definitely a possibility. And for people, if you think back to last year, this Illinois versus Purdue game was one of the only games that was really watchable from a Purdue fan perspective. That one was 49-50 in overtime. Ryan Brown's first game as a Purdue Boilermaker. He jumps in, throws for almost 300 yards, over 100 yards rushing. There's definitely the possibility for Purdue to come into this one for there to be a similar shootout as there was to last year. I do expect that to happen. I just don't know if Purdue is quite yet ready to get that win of that magnitude. I think that they definitely have some winnable games in the month of October. I don't know if this is one of them. I do think that they stay in this one. I have it at 42-35, Illinois.
Whoa. Arvin's hitting the over there.
Yeah.
With Illinois, Purdue. Seiko, you like Purdue's upset chances?
Not really, no. No. I think that's a well-coached team, but Illinois is. I mean, Illinois still. Let's not forget that they did return as much talent as they did. Are they? I mean, I guess I don't know the injury report off the top of my head. I imagine they're a little healthier since the Indiana game. I mean, they beat USC, right? That's gotta count for something. So I'm gonna take Illinois.
Yeah,
maybe Purdue covers backdoor, but I'm not really concerned about them.
Let's not forget that Purdue ran the coolest play of the college football season that didn't get called back. USC's was called back against Illinois, which is a travesty because it was incredible. But Purdue's was not. The handoff quarterback swing is electric stuff. I know what you're going to say, but say it anyway.
Illinois by 1,000,000.
Yep. Yeah. All right. That tracks. Real quick, rapid fire, because this is kind of a sneaky fun game. Michigan State at Nebraska. Anybody think the Spartans can pull it off in Lincoln? No.
Points. That's your points game.
Yes. The moral victory. That kind of worth something for. I wish Sheehan was here. Maybe we'll get him next week. Nick Arvin, Locked On Purdue. Zach Seiko, Locked On Nittany Lions. Jacob Goins, Locked On Hoosiers. I'm Spencer McLaughlin from Locked On All Over the Place. That is it for this week's Locked On Big Ten Squad. We'll see you next time. And until then, hope you all have a wonderful rest of your day.